Hey y'all, thank you for joining me on another video. Yes, I just dropped a video a few days ago, but this came up to me in my mind and it's come up before and it's something I really wanted to talk about. So I'm putting it out there now. I have heard on a few occasions about, well, at least he didn't hit me. At least she doesn't touch me like that. It's all emotional. He it's just words. That's it. Sticks and stones break your bones. But the thing is, words do hurt. Um for me, the emotional abuse was worse than the physical abuse. Oh, he was horrible um with physical abuse before 2007. He would push me down. As I think I stated in a previous video, he hit my head so hard along my ears that my ear went over the arm of my eyeglasses and actually slit my ear open. The ear cartilage right up here actually slit it open because he hit me in my head so hard. That was his favorite place to hit me, was my head. Um, I realized that it's highly likely when I went to a chiropractor several years back and they were x-raying my neck and back. The chiropractor said there was an old fracture in the back of my neck. And thinking back, it was likely the day that he hit me so hard, it made my ears ring for a good 30 seconds, if not longer. And that was the day I had called the police on him, back in 2007. So I don't want to ever diminish physical abuse, but I want to raise awareness that emotional abuse, verbal, that is abuse also. Because after 2007, after he um, was arrested, and because it was a first offense, he was allowed to do diversion, and once he finished diversion, all charges were dropped. Which, when it comes to domestic violence, I don't think that should be an option. But that's a whole other story. So I fell for his lies that, oh, I'm sorry, you deserve to be treated well. You deserve to be treated like a queen. I promise if you take me back, I'll treat you way better. I won't lay a hand on you. I'm so sorry. I believed him because I wanted to. Because I didn't want to give up on our marriage when we had already been married. By this time, oh gosh, 19 years, 20 years, something like that. Um, well, back in '07, so yeah, that was the year of our 20th anniversary. So I didn't want to give up. And he kept his word for the most part. He didn't lay a hand on me until the last, I don't know, 6 months of our marriage, from 2007 to 2020. But he got very verbally abusive. His biggest thing he liked to do was, in addition to breaking things that meant a lot to me, my things, like I used to collect unicorns. In addition to that, he would pretend to throw his ring away. his wedding ring. And the first couple of times he did that, it hurt like anything. Well, let me rephrase that. The first 2 times he did that, it hurt. Because I honestly thought he did, because he was good at sleight of hand, y'all. I mean, he would drop it, it wouldn't look like the toilet, and kind of find out he didn't. So he even had something in the other hand that he was acting like he was dropping, and have the water in the toilet splash that made it seem like it. So he was good. I mean, this was all thought out. His biggest thing, though, is that he would mock my looks. For a while, I was doing as he had wanted me to do and colored my hair black. And I got all kinds of attention, both wanted and unwanted, because it got real out of hand. Because we both worked at the same place, at a fast food place. I was shift supervisor, he was cook. And if we worked the same shift, there was a lot of PDA. And I don't like PDA. The most I like is like a kiss, or a hug, something like that. I'm not much for open PDA. And he didn't care. Because when I dyed my hair black, I was fulfilling some sick fantasy he had. I realize now that with dye my hair black, it enabled him to picture me as someone that he saw on his porn videos that he watched that had black hair. And I wore my hair black for about a year, I guess, maybe a little less, when I started realizing, I wonder if I would get this same attention if I dyed my hair a different color. If anyone knows who colors hair, when you have dark hair, like what I had jet black, you can't just color over it because it'll look darker. It won't lighten up because color doesn't lift color. So I started gradually where when the roots would come in, would grow out, I started coloring it a lighter brown. It was like a black brown. So it wasn't even that much lighter. The attention stopped. Literally, from the first time I colored my hair a different color. So when that happened, I figured, why bother? And I stopped coloring my hair altogether, and my hair became all gray. And because I stopped caring about how I looked. Y'all, if you knew me as a teenager, you would have laughed. Because as a teenager and young adult, excuse me, I would not walk out of the house without makeup. And I never wore a lot of makeup about what I'm wearing now. But I'd have makeup on. And I'd have my hair done. And yeah, after getting married and having our first child, that went to the wayside. But I still would look presentable, what I consider presentable, and put together. But it got to the point that I didn't care because he didn't like how I looked. So because he didn't like how I looked, I must not look good. And then he would get worse, and the biggest thing he would mock me for would be my weight, because he knew that was something that was a very sore spot for me for many reasons. And he would say that because of my weight, he wasn't interested in me anymore. We would go literally years without intimacy. I look back at, at the time, I didn't think he was cheating on me. But now I look back with clearer eyes and I realize he was cheating on me. I know of at least twice that I would be willing to bet that I'm 98% sure at least twice that he cheated on me. I suspect a third time with the wife of a friend, but I don't know definitely about that one. He would yell at me. I was not allowed to have an opinion unless it was his. If I had a different opinion, even just disagreed, not yelling or screaming, just disagreed. Well, I see it this way. He would have a fit. He would literally look at me and say, "How can you be so stupid? Do you really think that way?" And of course I would immediately back up and say, "Oh no, oh, you're right, I see your point. Never mind, brain fog." Because I didn't want it to start an argument. When you gotta live your life in constant fight or flight mode, even though there's no physical, it's still abuse. When they make you feel less than what you are, when they say horrible things that you would not even say to your worst enemy, that's abuse. Doesn't matter if they don't lay a finger on you. It's still abuse. I lived through that for 13 years. 13 years straight of nothing but emotional abuse. But he abused me 29 of our 32 years. Emotional abuse was worse the last 13 years of our marriage. Nothing I wore he liked. Was never, it got to the point to where I would have to ask for a hug. Because I'm a hugger. I need hugs and I give hugs. And I would have to ask for a hug. And then the hug I would get, I could feel it wasn't, genuine. Just like a kiss, I'd ask her, "Hey, can I have a kiss?" And that kiss was so distant, it felt like he was miles away. It's all abuse. And another thing that's abuse, making you feel obligated to be intimate. As I've mentioned before, we would go years without being intimate. But that would also get me to where I never turned him down. Because for one, I was afraid that if I turned him down, it would be another several years before I'd get anything. And two, I didn't want to start a fight. Because if he could turn me down, oh, he was cruel about it too. But heaven forbid that I even look like I'm really not up for it, because I genuinely don't feel good. Um, I remember one particular time I thought that I was reading him that he may be interested. So I gave a few innuendos. They were totally ignored. And I know he caught on to them. But he purposely ignored them. Rather than just say, look, I'm not up for it. And then he started this thing, I feel like you're trying to test me because you know I'm not up for it. No, I misread you. And I realize now that I didn't misread him. He purposely gave off that impression. So, knowing that I would try to pursue, and then he could turn me down, which would even further whittle me down. I was not lovable, according to what he told me. I was not attractive. I had an ugly heart. And I was so fat that, well, let's just say that logistically it was hard. He claimed that I was too fat to try to be intimate with. And we'll just leave it at that. All of that is abuse. When you make a mistake and you simply drop something on the ground, you go to pick it up, and it's like, what did you do that for, you stupid fool? You what? You got butterfingers? You can't pay attention? Now you're going to have to clean it. Okay, and I'm the one cleaning it. I'm not expecting you to. That's abuse. What are you thinking that for? Are you serious? What could you possibly think that way for? Oh, my bad. You're right. I didn't think about it that way. Brain fog. Or, oh man, I had a rough day today. This one customer was this and this and this. Well, at least it was just over the phone and not in person. At least if it was bad enough, you could disconnect. Translation: I don't want to hear what you're going through because I really don't care. What I'm going through is more important. Or, well, you know, the trouble you're having, people would look at that trouble and say, and wish they had that trouble because that would mean they'd have a job. In other words, saying people that don't have a job wish that they did. Okay, yeah, that person wishes they had my trouble, where at least they could say they had a job, but it doesn't diminish what I was going through. I was being verbally abused at work, on the phone, not often, but when you work on the phones, it happens. Translation: I don't want to hear your bullcrap. I just want to talk about me. And what's ironic is that it was a song by Toby Keith, oh gosh, many years ago. Want to talk about me. And it was about, basically, he was, this woman, the character, they was singing about, only wanted to talk about herself, only wanted to talk about anything dealing with her, but didn't never wanted to talk about anything with him. And he would mock me when I would want to talk about a frustration or something, like a bad day or something like that. Yeah, want to talk about me, want to talk about mine, and repeat the words of the song, mocking me in a mocking fashion. But yet, oh boy, he'd talk about himself for days on end if you let him. And he did. Because everything was about him. But in closing, I want to say that it doesn't matter if the abuser, man or woman, never laid a hand on you. If they're making you feel less than, if they're making you feel worthless, useless, ugly, either inside or out, that's abuse. And you need to leave. You have a good day and a good week. Until next time, stay blessed. Bye.